My name is Kate Davey, and I am Programmes Manager at Claw Leadership. And I am a white woman in my mid-30s, and I have dark curly hair that's tied up. I'm wearing glasses, and I've got a red and white t-shirt on. And firstly, just welcome everyone who is here and anyone who's watching this after the session as well. This is our Q&A for our Roots and Reach Global Leadership in Action programme that we are delivering for our international alumni. So the next sort of hour, if we need it, will be a combination of me talking about the programme a bit with a PowerPoint presentation, and then there'll be some time for questions after that. So we've had some questions sent to us in advance, so I'll start with those, and then I'll open up the floor for questions from anyone who's here today. If you have any questions as we go, you're very welcome to put them in the chat, and we'll come to them during the Q&A session. Or alternatively, once we enter the Q&A section of the session, just put your hand up or unmute and ask a question when you need to. So I am going to get started. I think I've covered everything I need to by giving a bit of an overview of the programme. So this programme, Roots and Reach, it's funded by the British Council, and it's emerged from some previous work that we did in partnership with the British Council, where we looked at mapping where our international alumni were in the world. And we held a series of online webinars that explored international leadership needs. And so as part of this initial programme, this kind of seed funding approach emerged as a way for us to support our international alumni to explore some of these emerging leadership needs in their own local context. So the aim of this programme is really to support you as Claw Leadership International alumni to further your own learning that you've gained through participating in our programmes, and to share this, apply this, or build on this in your own regional context. We also want to facilitate knowledge exchange across cultural contexts, so linking up our international alumni across the globe. And as part of this, we want to lay the foundations for a connected international alumni as well. So the programme is about supporting very authentic and inclusive place-specific activity that's designed by you as our international alumni living and working in these areas. And very much we want the projects to be informed by local leadership needs. And at the end of the programme, we want to have deepened our own kind of understanding about cultural context and leadership needs globally as well. So we're able to offer up to £5,500 for up to 5 projects as part of this programme, plus additional support from Claw Leadership, which might be things like guidance, signposting, advice in terms of design or delivery of your project. But we're going to ask you to tell us what you might need from us in your application as well. So as part of our initial project that we did a couple of years back, we identified some overarching themes that were relevant to international leadership needs at the time. And so what we're asking is that your proposed activity addresses at least one of these overarching themes in some way. And the prompts on this slide are just prompts. They're just ways for you to start thinking about these themes. But your project might address these themes in different ways as outlined on this slide. But the themes are people. So how can we lead people creatively, collaboratively, and with impact? How might we stay well and resilient as leaders? Place. So what does a flourishing creative sector look like in your local and regional context? Planet. What role does culture and creativity play in tackling global challenges? And the final theme is advocacy. So how might we effectively communicate the value of arts and culture to policymakers, decision makers, and wider audiences? And again, your proposal might focus on one or all of these. And so drilling down into those themes a little bit further, these were some of the areas of importance that we identified through this initial mapping project. And so we're inviting you to consider some of these themes as part of your proposed activity. Again, this isn't an extensive or all-inclusive list. It's some ideas for you to think about and some areas where we know that there is some leadership need globally. So there's support networks and peer exchange. So this might be things like creating spaces for ongoing support, mentoring, or sharing learning and knowledge. We've got place-based leadership, so projects that are rooted in specific place or context. Storytelling and communication, so exploring and enhancing how we tell stories about leadership, impact, or place. Community-focused leadership, so activity that responds directly to the need of specific communities. Policy and practice, so exploring that gap between policy and practice or lived experience on the ground. Well-rounded leadership support, so combining very practical skill building with emotional and peer support for like a holistic leadership approach. Sustainability and resilience, so strengthening leadership around planning and long-term organisational health. Collaborative models, so you might want to explore things like co-leadership, different models of leadership and shared responsibilities. Vulnerability and care, you might want to think about creating a safe space for reflection and conversation about leadership challenges. Practical skills development, so practical training like fundraising, project management, strategic planning, those sorts of things. And finally, climate leadership. So you might want to be thinking about how cultural leadership is connected to climate action and community mobilisation. And then on the right-hand side of this screen, there's some examples of the sorts of activity you might consider. Again, this isn't an extensive list. These are just prompts to get you thinking about the sorts of things that we are envisaging as part of this programme. So these could be leadership training days, facilitated conversations, peer mentoring, exploration of new learning styles, and network building or exchange. So in terms of the support we are able to offer as part of this programme, we can offer development and delivery support. So that might be things like guidance, signposting, opportunities for connection with other members of our alumni, and assistance in shaping content for your proposed project as well. We're also able to offer some support around evaluation and impact measurement, and that will be evaluation and impact measurement for the participants of your project, but also for you as a leader as well, and how participating in the programme has had an impact on you and your leadership. And we're able to offer up to £5,500 for project design and delivery. So we are looking, we are looking for proposals that are inclusive and that demonstrate a commitment to equitable leadership learning opportunities. So we want to see that your project is open and accessible to a wide range of people. We want to see how learning will be cascaded to wider communities. So what's the legacy of your project and how will it live on beyond the life of this activity, and who will benefit from it in the long term. And we want to see you reflecting on how your previous participation in a CLAW leadership programme has informed your proposed activity. So how you will apply that learning, how you'll build on it or expand it in your own regional context. So thinking about who can apply, so you must be a CLAW Leadership International alumni, which means that you must have participated in a CLAW leadership programme previously. And this can include having participated in our fellowship, in Leadership Pulse, Emerging Leaders, Leading Systemic Change, our short course, Leadership Intensive, or British Council Mexico's Creative Leadership Programme. You also must not currently live in the UK, and your leadership practice should primarily take place outside of the UK. We also need people to apply as part of a partnership. So we're not seeking solo proposals, as we're looking for projects that are sustainable and create wide-reaching impact. We also need applicants to apply as part of an organisation who will be accountable for managing the financial transactions as part of the programme as well. It's fine if any collaborators or partners are individuals, and it's also fine if collaborators and partners are in different countries, but they cannot be in the UK. And we'll also want you to demonstrate a financial contribution from another source as well. And this can be an in-kind contribution, for example, free venue hire. And I'll talk about this a bit later on as well. But this is just to show that the project is really embedded in and supported by its locality, and to ensure, again, that sustainability beyond our CLAW's involvement in the programme. So application to the programme is via an online application form. And we also have this available in different formats if you need. So please do just contact us if you need the application form in a different format. And there are questions in the application form to answer about yourself as the lead applicant. And we also want to know about any partners or collaborators who will be working on the project as well. There'll be questions about your proposed activity, so what you will do, how you will do it, how it will draw on your own learning, and who will benefit from it more widely. There'll be questions about your project plan, so how you will implement your activity, key milestones, and what support you might need from us. And then we'll ask you a bit about your budget as well. So you'll need to upload a budget to show the costings for your activity. And please do refer to the application guide for an example budget. And there's lots more information on each of the individual questions in the application form in the application guide. So do read that before you apply. In terms of the budget, we are looking for a realistic budget that aligns with the scope and the ambition of your proposed activity. And the budget should reflect the cost of the full activity, not just the element for which you are looking for clause support. And you will also be asked to let us know how much you're seeking from CLAW as well to fund your project. And this should be, again, a proportion of the overall cost of your project, as we do expect your project to be supported in some way by some other contributory funding, whether that's cash funding or in-kind support. And we'll ask you to share other confirmed and expected financial contributions as well. In terms of cash contributions, this might be things like other grants. It might be things like sponsorship, ticket sales, partner contributions or donations. And in terms of in-kind contributions, this might be things like free use of a venue, staff time, or other resources that are provided by a partner organisation. And finally, you'll be asked to talk about how you will make your project accessible and inclusive for people from a range of different backgrounds. And again, there's a lot more information on and guidance on each of the application questions in the application guide. So do have a look at that before you apply. So the CLAW leadership team will be assessing applications and we will be looking at these based on eligibility, relevance, innovation and creativity, feasibility, impact and legacy, and inclusivity and access. And our selection process will ensure that there's a range of projects and regions and areas of impact covered as part of the programme. And we're really committed to supporting a balanced mix of activities that reflect different scales, contexts, voices, and leadership styles across the global network. During the assessment period, we may be in touch to make additional suggestions or ask questions. We might suggest, for example, further partnership or collaboration before we make our final selection. So we might be in touch during that period. So in terms of the timeline, the deadline for applications is at 9 AM on Monday, the 7th of July, and that's GMT. We are looking to announce successful projects in early September, and then there will be a support and development phase until around October, where we'll work with you to understand what you're delivering and how you're delivering it and offer any support you might need during that period. Then we'll have our delivery phase from October to roughly January 2026. But this is very flexible. So for example, if your proposed activity is tied to a festival or something, that's absolutely fine. Just let us know in your proposal any kind of set or fixed dates that you're working towards. And then we'll have an evaluation phase from sort of January to March at the end of the programme. So some application tips. Again, please do read the full application guide, which is available on our website. That has lots of information on all the things that I'm talking about today, and also additional guidance on each of the questions in the application. You can also book in for a one-to-one online chat to talk about your proposal with a member of the team. So if you would like to do that, please email Sarah Stott, who is a project coordinator for this programme, on the email address on this slide. And again, we'll be looking for projects that are eligible, relevant, innovative, feasible, that demonstrate impact and consider legacy, and that are inclusive and accessible. So I'm going to move on to the Q&A section now. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see anybody. And again, I'm just going to start with the questions that we've had in advance. Great. So the first question that we've had in advance is there any restrictions on the funding? So in short, no, there are no restrictions on the funding. We just need an accurate and realistic budget from you about the work that you're planning to deliver. And any expenditure in your budget must be linked directly to the activity delivery. So no restrictions, we just need an accurate and realistic budget from you, and expenditure needs to be linked to project activity. The next question is, how will the funding support be arranged? So the way we're planning to deliver this is to pay around 80% upfront, and then the final 20% will be given after reporting and receipts and invoices are received. So you will need to keep track of your spending through receipts and invoices, and we will need to see those before releasing that final 20% of the funds. The third question is, can people submit more than one proposal? So you can submit more than one proposal, but as a lead applicant, we will only be granting each lead applicant. Lead applicants will only be able to be given one of the project slots. So if you've applied for two, you will only be able to receive one if you're successful. You are able to be a contributor or a partner in another proposal if that's what you'd like to do. If you have more than one idea, what we do suggest is talking to us about those ideas in a one-to-one session, just to understand which might be a kind of more relevant proposal for the programme. So do just get in touch if you have several ideas. The final question that we've had in advance is, if the project generates income, can the applicant keep this? So yes, you can keep any generated income. What we would say is include this in your budget. So this would count as additional contributory funding. So if you're expecting to generate income through things like ticket sales or donations, then do put that in your budget, because that does count as that contributory funding that we're looking for. So they are all the questions that we have had in advance. I know that Manal, you have got your hand up. Just open the chat as well.
Hi.
Yes, go for it, Manal.
Well, thank you. I have, I think, about two questions, or maybe three. First is the funding for the project, when you say up to 5,500, do you mean per project or for?
That's per project. That's per project. So we're able to offer £5,500 up to £5,500 for 5 separate projects.
Perfect. Okay. Second question was, can some of that funding be given, as a payment to the co-partner? Meaning, I'm planning potentially at looking at a series of leadership and well-being courses that I'd like to deliver, and that means I need to have a registered sort of psychologist and a person who works in that field. And so I'm in a way asking her to deliver some of this project, so it's a payment to her. Is that a way I can use the budget?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we would expect to see things like
okay.
Yeah, we would expect to see things like time for any facilitators or external experts or people you're bringing in to be covered in the budget. That's absolutely fine.
And then the other question I was going to ask is, you did mention you wanted it to be as inclusive as possible. I'm a little concerned because of sort of cultural issues here, that maybe this program that I'm thinking of might only be able to be delivered for the women in the office rather than a mixed men and women's session, only because a lot of the sessions require a certain vulnerability and ability to be very comfortable in the session. And I know if they are some male colleagues there, that will not happen due to cultural issues. Is it possible, if I can explain that might be okay to still deliver it for women only?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think as long as you can explain why, and as you've just done now, I think that would be fine if it's an integral part of your project to make a safe space for people. That's fine.
Yes, as effective, because I think we could do it, but it won't be as effective as it would be if there was a different dynamic in the room. That's what I'm thinking. So, okay,
yes.
great. All right,
Yes.
I'll just explain anything like that. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the information. I think that's it. If there's anything else, I'll email you. Thank you.
Thanks, Manal. Thank you. Are there any other questions from anyone in the room today?
Yes, I'm Anna from Hong Kong.
Hi, Anna.
Hi. I just wonder how about say for example we come up with some output, say for example a leaflet or something that promote leadership or sustainability and leadership. I'm concerned about how to encourage more leaders to embrace sustainability practices in their organizations. So that kind of output, the copyright of these leaflets, etc. Can I keep the IP of it, and so that I can keep on reusing it in future?
Yeah, I think we wouldn't. I don't think Claw Leadership would want ownership over that. I think as something that's produced as a result of your project, that would be yours to own and to use going forwards. This funding is kind of intended to support you to either start something new or expand or build on something that you've been developing previously. So we would encourage you to do that and then go on and use that in future projects as well. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anna. Any more questions from anyone? Great. Okay, well, thank you very much for everyone for joining us this morning. Again, just to mention, please do get in touch if you'd like to book a one-to-one session with us. We're very happy to talk through your proposals, answer any more specific or nuanced questions you might have about your project. Sarah's just put her email address in the chat, so do just send Sarah an email to book that in. Again, have a look at the application guide on our website. That's got a lot of information in it and will help take you through each question step by step with guidance for each of those questions as well. Yes, and 7th of July is the deadline, so please do get your applications in by then. And if you have any other questions in the meantime, please feel free to get in touch with any one of us. We're very happy to help. But enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you.